Let's see, can everybody hear me? Waiting for some people to show up. Had some technical difficulties before. Had to switch off to my other helmet. Let's see. Well, this has certainly been a busy day. Trying to get all this set up. I got some wizard lights to give me the light and dark side. Greetings, my friend. Sorry I had to kind of jump out on you there for a bit. Had some problems with my helmet, so I couldn't read any of the comments, so I had to switch out my helmet to the classic version that I used for the majority of the film. Just waiting for a few more people to arrive. The Empire greets you, my friend. Thank you for taking the time to join us tonight. I hope I can read everyone's comments. Let me see. Lord Vader, this is an unexpected pleasure. We are honored by your presence. I am honored by your presence, my friend. I apologize if I sound a bit out of breath, but I've been feeling rather sick all day, so it's kind of hard to catch my breath in this helmet, but we're gonna make a go of it. So let's see. The Empire greets you. Sorry, I have to keep leaning my head down. I can't read these tiny comments on my screen here. I gotta get some old man glasses. Yes, wearing these masks can be very suffocating indeed. That was one of the main problems with filming on location, actually, for the film. The very last day of shooting, I had to take this off because I was getting very overheated doing the fighting, and I nearly threw up all over the place. I was dry heaving and everything. Had to get the helmet off, and I just about had heat stroke, but we eventually got the shots we were looking for that day. So it was difficult, but it was worth it in the end. So before we get started, let me welcome someone else here. Let me see. I apologize if I have a hard time getting to everyone's comments because I'm having very hard time seeing. My goggles are all fogging up. My tablet has very small fonts. If I just knew how to change the size of the font, I could see a bit better. But hold on one moment, please. I'll be with you in a minute. This is my first live stream, so please bear with me. I'm going to turn this off for just a second, my screen, so I can get my gloves on. Hold on just a moment. There we go. A more professional production may have had these gloves on from the beginning, but sadly, I did not have time. But now I have my gloves on, so we're all good to go. So let me see, what is this comment here? All right, so we've got quite a few people in the chat here. Before we get going, I would like to take a moment to thank Adam Jordan. I'm just happy to be a stormtrooper, Adam Jordan, Admiral John Crawford, and brand new hero of the Empire, Richard Morrow, for the generous support of the channel. And we really couldn't do this without you guys, so we really thank you for showing your support to Vader Reviews and to each and every one of you who supported the fan film over the years with your enthusiasm and with your generosity. We thank you very much. Now, pardon me. Before I get into telling some stories about the film, I just wanted to say that our director will be on a few live streams relatively soon here, I believe, and he will be going into more depth in some of these stories than I can here, But speaking for myself, I can talk about parts of the film that pertain to me. So, let me see. Greetings, my friend. I'm trying to read all of these comments here. It's very difficult. Does anyone know how to change the font size on a live stream? Uh, sorry, I have old man eyes, and I'm trying to look through a foggy helmet. Does anyone know how to do that on a tablet by any chance? I'm looking at the options here, but doesn't look like it. Okay, well, let me see. Long live the Empire indeed. It's great to see all of you here. We're going to have a lot of fun, hopefully, as I can catch my breath and uh, start getting to some of your questions as soon as my goggles clear up a bit. But when we set out to do this fan film, it was a long time ago. We started back in, let me see, we started pre-production back in 2018, but we started principal photography on the film in late October, I believe it was, of 2019. And that's when we first got out there in the woods, and that's where we actually began the lightsaber duel. That was some of the first stuff we shot. Our first day on location, the scene where I clash with Master Vong Zar, where our sabers clash, and we have that big standoff right at the beginning, just before I start, hacking away at all the leaves and chasing them into the woods. That was our first day of shooting, and shortly after that, the weather changed, and all the trees died, and we had to wait an entire year for everything to come back to life. But right when it did, that's when the entire pandemic started, and that slowed us down significantly, and gave us a lot of problems because it kept us from filming for some time. But that gave our director plenty of extra time to plan some extra sequences and make the film bigger and better. He added a myriad of other characters, and we practiced more lightsabers and expanded the duel to greater intensity and greater heights. And it really made the difference in the film in the long run. So it just goes to show that even when things go wrong, if you just roll with the punches, you can make space lemon out of space lemonade out of space lemons. I'm sorry, I haven't gotten hardly any sleep, so I've been kind of fighting off something here. I've got this bronchitis that flares up every now and then. But let me see. Let me pull this in so I can read it better. Let me see. Yes, it has been a fun 4-year ride. It's been a lot of fun connecting with each and every one of you over the weekends. I have to say, reading your comments from weekly videos to the film alike, it really makes it worthwhile for me personally, because we put so much hard work and effort into all of our videos, whether they're just reviews or the drawing videos or the fan film, which we put the most work into. But connecting with each and every one of you and reading your comments, it really keeps me going. And I thank you guys for that. It's great speaking with all of you. Let me see. Yes, setbacks are always a drastic issue, but it ended up being a much better film for it. I don't know how many of you have seen the film, but there's a part of the film where I have Master Vong Zar by the throat, and I have him pinned against a tree. There's a little fun fact of the dialogue there. My line, now I will finish what I began with your eyes. That line was actually inspired by the Shredder from the 1990s Ninja Turtle film. when he tells Master Splinter, "Now I will finish what I began when I cut off your ear." So there's a little bit of '90s Ninja Turtles reference in our fan film. But the reason I was bringing up that tree is because that tree blew over in a tornado, and we had to completely redo our entire finale to the scene because we were halfway done with the finale of the duel, and the tornado blew the tree over, and it completely destroyed the environment. So we had to refactor the entire scene and shoot it from a different angle and come up with new choreography and a new plan. And in the meantime, we utilized that fallen tree for the opening scene where Master Vongzar is hiding from the probe droid, because it was such a large tree and it looked really interesting, knocked over the way it was. We just used it for another part of the film. So, again, when things go wrong, you can either hang your head and cry about it, or you can find a way to use it for the rest of your film to improve and add to the overall flair of the scene. So, when you're on location, always have a plan, but plan to change. That's what Jonathan Frakes said when he was directing Star Trek Insurrection. No, it was First Contact. First Contact. Um, and it is great advice because this film was planned meticulously. However, when we got on location, inevitably we had to change nearly everything to suit the needs of the day. So let me see if I can read this comment here. Yes, the difference between disaster and success is a very thin margin, to be sure. But with a little creativity, um, you can come up with some pretty wizard stuff, I gotta say. Because I'm very proud of the lightsaber duel we achieved in the film. Fun fact: the sword stance that I take late in the duel when I drop my saber down to the side. Um, that was inspired by a character named Kyuzo from Akira Kurosawa's The Seven Samurai. Whenever he was engaged in a duel, when he was about to win, he would drop his saber down to one side, or his katana, rather. So I wanted to reflect that a little bit in my fighting style. We tried to blend samurai sword techniques with classic Star Wars lightsaber play and a generous helping of the prequels with the twirls and all that kind of thing as well. To see if we could come up with a lightsaber style that was familiar but still unique from things we've seen before in Star Wars. So we're hoping we achieve it. We've seen so many comments from all of you where you really enjoyed the lightsaber duel in the film, and that's incredibly rewarding because that was hours and hours and hours of hard work. Every day when we were done, um, you pretty much felt like you'd been kicked by a horse. My back hurt so bad every time I was done filming. It was 98 degrees outside when we were filming on location doing those lightsaber duels, and if you can imagine being trapped in a leather bodysuit with all the armor and the cape and everything, doing very aggressive lightsaber work, it took its toll on me. Um, that mixed with the fact that I was suffering from a hernia at the time, uh, a lower abdominal hernia. So every day when we were done filming, I was in excruciating pain. But all of my suffering um, made its way onto screen in the form of a very satisfying lightsaber duel. So, no pain, no gain, as they say. Let me see if I can read this. Oh, it just went off the screen. Hold on. Let me see. How do we do the ship scenes? Is that what someone was saying? Um, I'm sorry if I'm not reading these correctly. My goggles are all fogged up. Um, for the spaceships, how we did those, we used toys mostly. Um, we filmed toys in front of a green screen and composited all of them in post in front of a star field in our editing software. And if you run a lamp over the top of the toy, um, that gives a three-dimensionality to the movement as you have it pass across the screen, because it appears that the sunlight is hitting the ship at a different direction as you move it through the shot. So it completes the illusion of movement, rather than just having a still image that doesn't change, except for the size and placement on the screen. So if you want to do model shots, it's important to make sure that your light changes on your model as it moves, and that's what'll give it the proper illusion of movement and speed. Let me see here. Here, let me lift this up a bit so I can try to read that. Doing this in the helmet was kind of a bad idea, I think. I'm sorry, I can't see that thing. I'm trying to read the comments, I really am. I need, the next time they pop up, I'm going to try to lift my helmet up a little bit and see if I can look on them with my own eyes and not all this foggy mess that I'm trying to look through. Let me see, there we go. Yes, the original Godzilla suit. I can't imagine what it must have been like trying to walk around in that 200-pound suit. That must have been a nightmare. But Mondays were my days off, so we would film on Saturdays, and Sunday I would answer comments all night long from whatever weekly video I had posted. And then Mondays, I was flat on my back nearly all day long trying to recover, because my back and stomach hurt so much from the day before when we were filming the lightsaber duel. And then Tuesday, my friend who plays the Jedi would come over and we would practice whatever new portion of the lightsaber duel we had to film the following weekend. Wednesdays I would relax again, and then Thursdays and Fridays it was on to production for whatever my weekly video was, and then Saturday we were right back out there fighting in 98-degree temperatures. And the way my goggles are all fogged up where I can't even read, it made it very difficult on location as well, because I couldn't see where I was going. I couldn't see what I was swinging at. My friend was just a blur in front of me. And he had contacts in to make him appear to be blind, because he's playing a blind swordsman. Like, we were inspired by Zatoichi, the old samurai films of a blind swordsman. If you haven't seen them, you should look them up. It's a very long series of films, but they're very good. But since he was playing a blind Jedi Master, he had to have these contacts in, and he couldn't see me either. So what we ended up doing was just sort of going by muscle memory, swinging at each other full force, and hoping for the best. Hold on, let me try to read this. Thank you, Marcos. I'm glad you enjoyed the fight and the dialogue in the forest. The writing of this film was something that was very important to us, because there are a myriad of amazing lightsaber films on the internet. Way more acrobatic than we could ever hope to be, way more skilled than we could hope to be, because there are true martial artists that put their time and effort into making these kind of lightsaber films. So we wanted to try to sort of embellish our shortcomings, perhaps, with a quality story that people could enjoy. And most importantly, to stay true to George Lucas's original vision for Star Wars, and hopefully capture the same philosophy of the Force and the grandeur that those films had, even though we were doing it on a much, much smaller scale. So I'm glad you enjoyed that, my friend. And we've been getting a lot of amazing comments. The outpouring of love that this film has had so far is very humbling and very touching. Because speaking for myself, this has been the most complicated but rewarding creative project I have ever been involved in. And I'm very proud of the work that we achieved, and seeing how much it has been accepted by all of you is it's a very emotional thing for me, honestly, because I've never had anything I've done be accepted by so many people before, and I'm very blessed and very thankful to each and every one of you who has not only supported this project for years with your enthusiasm and your generosity and your time, but also with your kind words and encouragement. So that means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Let me, oh, the comments just went off. The next time the comments pop up, I'll lift my helmet to try to read them some. I know this is a very shoddy live stream compared to how a lot of people do it, but I'm doing the best I can. Hold on. Rob from Everything Star Wars, greetings. We are honored by your presence. The chat just went off again. I'm trying to read it. The text is so small on this tablet. I feel like I need those old guy fonts that are like big, huge block letters like this big. Let me see. Ah, there's the chat again. Let me see. Ah, greetings. I watched your film 3 times now. That is some high praise indeed. Thank you for watching the film. I'm glad you're enjoying it so much. We didn't really expect people to like it. I was sure because of its time, with how long it was, that if it got any views at all, it would probably take upwards of a year to get about to the 1,000 view mark. I must admit I didn't have high hopes for the view count of this film, with YouTube being what it is. Because most of the time, people are watching YouTube videos on the crapper, and, they don't really have time at work to sit around for an hour, even if they'd like to watch a Wizard fan film. So, thank you very much to everyone who's watched it. Let me see, what is this comment here? Oh, it just went off. I wish these comments would stay up for longer. Unfortunately, oh, thank you, Commander Waz. We are honored by your presence. Thank you. Yes, you do have to start somewhere. I just wish I could start a little better class than this. Let me see here. Thank you that someone just said that it looks pretty good, the fan film, and I'm glad that it doesn't have too cheesy of a vibe. There are some things, honestly, that I wish we could have done better, but we were sort of building our supplies as they went over a 3-year period as the film began to grow, so we did the best with what we had. If nothing else, I hope people can be inspired by the fact that no matter what you have, you can always get started on a project. And with everyone having a camera in their phones these days, and free software like HitFilm, the entire film we made was done on 2 Walmart laptops with a free software called HitFilm. So if you're into filmmaking, download HitFilm and you'll be able to be making Star Wars films in no time. So if nothing else, I hope this film can inspire you to follow your creative dreams as well. And we spent a long time on this film, obviously. It took us 3 years to complete. but we were delayed several times by sickness or also the pandemic and all of that nonsense that ground the world to a halt. It was very inconvenient, but we soldiered through it, and eventually we got everything we needed. It was a blessing in disguise for our production, however, having these delays of weather and all the other hassles we had, because it opened the door for so many other ideas that we wouldn't have had originally. Because this film was supposed to only be 15 minutes long. There was supposed to be 5 minutes of setup, a 5 minute duel, and 5 minutes of closing for the film where I talked to the Emperor. But obviously, we added and added and added and added to it until now it's over an hour long. It would have been even longer if we hadn't um, had some last minute visual effects problems because we had two or three visual effects sequences I had to cut from the film. Um, but we may finish those and release them as deleted scenes someday. And perhaps even in George Lucas fashion, release a special edition with the added bonus scenes. Let me see. Darth Vader Unlimited. I love the fact that this is an actual film rather than a fight. Yes, I'm glad that this seemed like a film to you. We were hoping that it would have the feeling and spirit of a film rather than just seeming like a goofy little thing we put up on the internet for fun. I thought the acting was really good and the action and dialogue were very impressive. Rob from Everything Star Wars. Thank you very much. Um, you know, hearing that people were impressed by the acting and the story is incredibly rewarding for us um, because, you know, we were just some friends trying to make a Star Wars film. And when you put something out on the internet, you kind of expect you're going to get a pretty hostile reception from a lot of people. The internet being what it is. So the outpouring of love that we've received from all of you is just it's overwhelming, and we can't thank you enough. Let's see. More dewbacks, yes. Smith and Wesson said more dewbacks. We I would have loved to have dewbacks in this film. They were some of my favorite Star Wars creatures when I was a youngling because if you've watched the channel for any amount of time, you know that I love dinosaurs. And dewbacks are basically space dinosaurs, so perhaps in another project we'll have some dewbacks. Let me see. Janelle Waz said, does that mean we'll have a version of Star Wars Fallen Jedi with Star Wars rocks in it? I don't know if we can manage to pull off an entire band to sing that wizard little number, but if there's any way we can make it possible, we'll see what we can do. Let's see. Ah, I was trying to read a comment, but it was like a paragraph and it popped off the screen before I could finish it. Um, Let me see. Some interesting stories. Well, I gotta say, this Black Series helmet, this is the one I wore during the duel. I put this one on because I can see better out of it than the other helmet, but I can still hardly see. Um, like my son said, I can't see a thing out of this helmet. But there were two times on location that I fell flat on my face. I face planted and I couldn't see where I was going, and I tripped and fell. And as you can see, the mask was unmarred, and I was very surprised because I came down like right on the nose, right on the grill of the face mask, and I was sure I ruined it, but fortunately it survived. It also had a few healthy dings while we were fighting, because, as I stated before, I couldn't see where I was going, and my friend couldn't see what he was doing either. So I got whacked in the head a couple times. It didn't hurt because, you know, I was wearing the dome, so um, I was okay. But it got a couple dings and scratches here and there, but it survived pretty well. Let's see. I would say if you could pull. Ah, I was reading a comment that came off the screen. Let me see. If you could pull Lucas, um, the only special effects with the ships and Yoda. I'm trying to read it, but it keeps popping off the screen too quickly. This isn't going how I planned. I wanted to read every comment out loud for you guys. I don't know. Um, the only way I could really answer everybody's questions would be if this turned into a face reveal video, but I don't know if you guys would want that, but that might be one of the only ways I can really read these comments too well, because I'd be able to keep up with them if I wasn't looking through the helmet. Let me see. What did we use for the stand-ins for the sabers? We used carbon fiber tubing. It was clear plastic tubing that we got at Home Depot, I believe. It was these clear tubes that my father inserted into the lightsaber hilts. He used epoxy to keep them in. So, if I'm still having the trouble seeing the comments, try a pop-out chat. I'm on a tablet. I don't know if you can do that on the tablet, unfortunately. I don't have good internet here. This is a cell phone plan that I'm on right here. I'm glad this movie is an hour long instead of 15 minutes. Vader, it was truly meant to be, from Marcus. Thank you very much. I'm glad it turned out as long as it was as well. It was supposed to be an hour and 20 minutes. And it would have been too if I hadn't ran out of time on some of those last few special effects shots. Yes, unfortunately, I can't open up a new window to expand the chat because I'm doing this in a tablet and it only lets me have one window open at a time. It's a real pain in the space keister, but I'm trying to see if I can. Let me see. You can't shut the camera off. Well, let me see. I don't know if I can. Like I said, I've never done a live stream before, and I'm also doing it from a tablet, so my options are limited, it seems. So I kind of have my head tilted inside the mask now, where I can sort of see out of this bottom rim of my eye now, so I can kind of read what you guys are saying, a little bit, but it still kind of whisks off screen pretty fast. But yeah, we didn't have any big injuries making the film. Fingers got whacked a couple times, as like they do when you're lightsaber fighting. But for the lightsaber duels, what we were trying to do was not only have some exciting action, but also tell a story with the fight itself, showing the emotional states of the characters in the way we fought. If you'll notice, I regularly switch from one-handed fighting to the more powerful two-handed strokes that reflect the fighting style of Empire Strikes Back. Greetings, Cassian Andor. Let's see. The Empire greets you, even though you helped steal the plans to the Death Star. That was a naughty boy, but, made for a pretty wizard movie. Yes, steel rods would have definitely hurt much more if we had used those. The carbon fiber tubing for the lightsaber blades was much more flexible, so it still hurt, but not quite as bad. Yes, the Emperor doesn't give pretty good call service, unfortunately. They don't give good quality OSHA armor either, Smith Wesson. No, they don't. No, they don't. As our stormtroopers can rightly attest to. They always seem to catch the short end of the stick. Well, I'm glad I looked scary when I went berserk when I was swinging through the woods. We were trying to get a very wild feel at those points, um, to express that my rage was taking over to such an extent that I wasn't really thinking clearly, because this is a very young, very raw Darth Vader who hasn't quite gotten to the point of being as calm and collected as he should be. And in those moments, I did tell my friend, like, just back up. I'm just going to swing at the trees and just get out of the way. And we'd count it off three, two, one, and I'd just kind of go nuts and he'd get out of the way. So, yes, deleted scenes. I'm glad you liked the I am death line. We tried to see if we could mix a bit of anger and intimidation with just a little bit of sadness right at the beginning of that line delivery, um, as if he's still wanting to be Anakin, but he's thought that he's gone too far and there's no hope for him coming back. I'm glad you enjoyed how Darth Vader was in this fan film. We, Adela Finsanen, if that's, I believe that's how you pronounce the name. I hope I didn't butcher that too badly. But yes, we were very concerned with blending the characters of Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker together in this film. Um, Even in the terms of the fighting style and the body language as well. Because if you'll notice, there are moments when the Jedi makes me good and angry, where he's calm and he's talking about how now he understands, he truly sees the will of the Force. Um, I purposely chose to pace back and forth and twirl my lightsaber the way I did to reflect Anakin's anger at Obi-Wan during the Mustafar duel in Episode 3. So we tried to put some Anakin in there whenever we could, but for the most part, keep it very strong and Vader-like. So I'm glad you guys noticed. That kind of thing is very rewarding because suit acting is much different than voice acting or being completely in character with your face, because you have to try to get across um, everything that a normal actor would do with expressions in his eyes, but you have to try to do it with your body, your head turns, things you do with your hands, and you have to try to do it delicately enough to where you don't seem like a Power Ranger, but um, make it read enough to where people can see, hopefully, what you're thinking, and hopefully get a little bit of emotion across in your body language. And I tried to copy David Prowse's movements as much as I can. Now, it's no secret I'm no 6 foot bodybuilder like he was, but I tried to, puff my chest out a bit, and um, I paid attention to his walk and how he holds his hands and that sort of thing. So let me see. I'm reading a few more comments. But yes, we did a lot of hard work on this film, and it's a strange feeling, honestly. Now that it's all over, um, now that the film's out and you've all seen it, um, I don't know. It almost feels like Christmas is over because I was anticipating the release for some time, and I'm relieved that it's out, but I'm kind of sad that I don't have any more to do working on it anymore. So, you see, I mentioned this when it was streaming. Yes, yes. Darth Vader Unlimited. We are honored that you would join us, and I'm very glad that the conflict within Vader in this film didn't make him appear weak. Um, we were very concerned with that. We were hoping that he wouldn't seem weak or useless, particularly since the Emperor kind of chastises him at the end. We really hoped that people wouldn't get the wrong idea out of that and think that we were making him weak, um, or useless, because goodness knows we've seen plenty of our favorite Star Wars characters be portrayed as useless weaklings, and we didn't want to see any more of that. We were just trying to show that there was still this pull to the light that Anakin was feeling, and he was struggling to, when he was met with this Jedi who brought up his past. Um, we wanted to show that for a moment he was really considering that perhaps he could come back. But then, with the voiceovers from the past, he thinks about everything he's done, and he feels it is too late for him. That was really the direction I was hoping they were going to go in the Obi-Wan series. I was hoping but not hoping, because we had written and filmed this first, and we were hoping that they wouldn't cover the same ground that we did. So it was kind of a relief when that wasn't in the Kenobi show, but I feel like thematically it probably should have been. Um, Let me see here. Can I bring up? I'm trying to see if I can bring up the comments whenever I want. Okay. There we go. Where was this the whole time? I think I've finally got it to where it can be up the whole time. Hold on. I'm trying to get the chat popping up again. Yes, the nurse for Vader was a nice touch. The Arbiter actually wasn't from the old canon. He was a character we completely made up for the film. Actually, honestly, the whole reason he's in the film was because my friend who plays the Jedi Master, he originally was going to play Palpatine in the film, and he was very excited about it. But as time went by, he suggested that the director of the film do it instead. And while the director was happy to do it, we could also tell that he was a little bit disappointed that he wasn't going to be able to play kind of a creepy, spooky bad guy in this film. So we came up with this other role for him to kind of scratch his monster movie character itch, so he could get into some makeup and have some fun playing a good bad guy. So, but yes, he was a completely original character made up for the film. Hold on, let me bring this back up. Adela Finchon, and yes, I'm glad that you loved how much Anakin was channeled through Vader in this film, with the choreography and the body language and everything. I was even very particular about how I said certain lines to try to get a few of Hayden Christensen's speech patterns in there, blended with the Vader voice. So it was difficult because I was trying to sound like James Earl Jones, trying to sound like Hayden Christensen in a way. Um, so it was sort of like blending of impressions. And as you can clearly hear, there's a bit of extra processing that needs to be done on the voice to complete the Vader sound that unfortunately I don't have at the moment. Um, but hopefully, if I can get the hang of this live stream thing and get better at it over time, I'll be able to have some real time effects on my voice and maybe even a breathing loop or something. Thank you very much, Adela Finchanen. Said that the fan film was absolutely fantastic and amazing. And yes, we were trying to mix a little bit of The Force Unleashed and the prequels. In fact, a lot of this film, we were trying to give it a old EU Star Wars game feel. There are actually sound effects from some of the old video games and other references in this film. For example, when the stormtroopers are being shot, when I'm reflecting their bolts back into them on the platform scene, the sounds the stormtroopers make twice. Once is the Wilhelm scream, a classic Star Wars sound, but the other two times, it is the sound effect that the stormtroopers made when they were shot in the old Nintendo 64 Shadows of the Empire game. That was my first Star Wars game as a child. Um, so I wanted to sneak that in there with the stormtroopers getting hit by blaster bolts and making their little death noises they made in the game. Also, when Master Vongzar's ship crashes, if you've ever played the old Rogue Squadron game on the Nintendo 64, uh, if you pay attention at the beginning when Vongzar crashes on the platform, the musical cue for when you're shot down in that game plays. We incorporated that into the score there, and once again, another Shadows of the Empire reference. When our Jedi is fighting the ATST, you can't hear it very well because all of the sound design is so loud, but the score for when you're fighting the ATST on foot in Shadows of the Empire is playing behind that whole battle sequence to try to give it the feel of Shadows of the Empire where we could. So we tried to give it as many classic Star Wars prequels and even video game references as we could. We had even more. In one of our deleted scenes, we name drop some characters from the old EU, the Rise of Darth Vader novel. We referenced some Jedi by name from that book, and we even referenced Starkiller's father, Galen Merrick's father, and set that up. That was going to be the next thing I was doing. That wasn't going to be the film we were going to make. We weren't going to try to make a Force Unleashed game movie, but we were just kind of setting it up to be like in the timeline. That's what happens next after this film, just to sort of kind of solidify it all as one universe. As Starkiller says, it was real to me. So we wanted to make it real again for the fans if we could. Because that was the important thing to us, was trying to make longtime Star Wars fans happy with this film. And knowing that we've given so many of you a smile has made all of our hard work worth it in the end. Sorry, I almost dropped my tablet there. Feeling kind of wobbly, but we really thank you all for everything that you've done, supporting this film, taking the time to watch it and comment, because that really helps. Let me get the chat back up here. Okay. You did a better job making Star Wars fans happy than Disney has. Well, that's certainly what we were hoping to do. I know there are lots of fans of Disney's take on Star Wars, and we don't mean to belittle any of them, but I wasn't the biggest fan of what they have done, and I'm glad that we were able to put a smile on some more classic Star Wars fans' faces. Let me see. Still the best fan film ever. Thank you very much. That's some high praise, because there's been a lot of them. Greetings, Darth Lion. We are honored that you would join us. Let's see, I just got an answer from Overlord DVD. He has your film in his... Sorry, the chat just went off. He has your film in his queue and will soon watch it. Thank you very much for bringing that to his attention. We were hoping that a big YouTuber would see it. I've been tweeting it like a fiend to every YouTuber I can think of, every Star Wars YouTuber, and I can only do so much. So, if you guys want to help us out, what you can do is copy the link to our fan film and tweet it to every big Star Wars YouTuber you can think of. Um, because if enough people tweet it to them, that carries a lot more weight than me just being like, hey, I'm a little nobody, watch my movie, please. You know, but if, say, 100 people that watched the film all tweeted the link to someone like Star Wars Theory or, just one of the other big guys on the interwebs, he would be more likely to check it out because he'd see, like, huh, I guess people really want me to talk about this. So, and we're not trying to ride anyone's coattails or anything like that. We just want as many Star Wars fans as possible to see this film, um, because we worked so long on it. Still, the fact that we're over 3,000 views is more than I could have hoped for, and I'm incredibly grateful for the amount of views that we've gotten, and I'm very thankful to everyone who has shared it so far. So thank you very much for everyone who has helped. Try to bring the chat back up once again. Yes, Janelle was. You said that we at least had a text crawl as well. Yes, Star Wars doesn't feel right without a text crawl. It's just one of those things that it's so intrinsically linked to the experience of Star Wars, waiting to see the text crawl come up, that without it, it's just empty somehow. Oh, yes, Marcus, you were asking about the deleted scenes. I may do a video on the deleted scenes before we release them. That way you guys can know whether you really want to see them or not, because um, one of them's a small action sequence, but the other ones are really more dialogue based, and they might not be the most exciting. Um, so, let me see. An honor to be here. I'm literally flashing back to when I first saw the teaser trailer for Star Wars Fallen Jedi. Yes, Darth Lion, that seems like forever ago, doesn't it? Those teasers, they were fun to put together, and I'm glad you stuck with us. Greetings, Anakin Skywalker. It's funny you should mention fighting Darth Maul on Naboo, because, well, while we may never get to it, we have several other fan film projects kind of rattling around in the old noodle, and one of them did involve Darth Maul. It would be very complicated to put together, but we may get to it eventually. We're hoping to also branch out into more original projects as well, as time goes by. Um, Partially so we can sell some merch because, you know, I don't really own Star Wars, so I can't sell any t shirts with my beautiful face on them. But also because we would like to expand our own creativity and try to take our hand at creating some science fiction and fantasy worlds of our own, to try to make some of the films that we would like to see that just aren't being made these days. Because nothing against superhero movies, but superhero films have kind of taken over cinema, and it would be nice to see some just basic sci fi and basic fantasy movies once again. So, we're hoping eventually to branch off and do some of our own things, but we do have other Star Wars film concepts. One that we're already in production on. Um, it's been a long time, but it's a collaboration with a YouTuber called Deepfaker, where he utilized his talents to deepfake Patrick Stewart's face onto our director, who plays an Imperial officer who happens to look exactly like Captain Jean-Luc Picard. The concept is, what if Captain Picard was the captain of a Star Destroyer? And what if he was as devoted to the ideals of the Empire as Picard is to the Federation? What would that look like? So it's written like a Next Generation episode, but it takes place in the Star Wars galaxy. So keep your eye out for that. We're still editing that film together. So let me see. I'm reading a few more of the comments. Yes, deleted scenes. They're a lot of fun. We always liked all of the DVD special features, and there were always deleted scenes on those. Let's see. Simply love this movie. The old Star Wars movies. Yes, we were trying to see if we could do the build up to this film as much like a real movie as possible, with all of the behind the scenes features, and we also wanted you to see how much love and respect we had for the franchise, and how much we were concerned with making you, the viewers, happy. Um, because sadly, most films seem to have forgotten that their key purpose is to entertain. And while we're not on the level of a Hollywood film, we hope that we entertained you guys and gave you at least a few minutes of escape from uh, the problems of the world while you watched me hunt down a Jedi. But the other thing that's very rewarding to us, very rewarding indeed, is that so many of you have appreciated the story and the emotional, heartfelt moments. Because whenever you try to go for drama and heartfelt moments, it's a bit of a risk. Because we could have, you know, very easily been the room of Star Wars. You know, we didn't want to Tommy Wiseau this. So we're very happy that you all enjoyed the emotional elements of this film as well as the action. We were pretty sure you'd like the lightsaber fight because, you know, it's me fighting with a lightsaber. What's not to like? So let's see. He's not exactly Miro Picard, Commander Waz. He doesn't have a goatee, um, but he is an Imperial officer. He's a commander upon this. He's the captain of the Star Destroyer Reciprocity. So they're negotiating a trade dispute with. Let me see. It's been so long. I'm trying to remember the name of the planet. It was Nelvana 4, named after the Nelvana Studios who animated the old Star Wars Holiday Special cartoon. Let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to bring this comment back up. A small fan series exploring the ideology of the Empire and how it shows in policy the same way the Clone Wars handled the... Hold on. The late Republic would certainly be interesting. Yes, that would be very interesting indeed. Going into the hows and whys of things. We need a lot of old guys to play all of the Emperor's advisors. We'd also need to get some more Palpatine makeup for our director. Because that stuff wasn't cheap. That was kind of crazy. That was one of the most complicated makeup jobs of the entire film, honestly. Him and the Arbiter, those were the two kind of wackier characters. But fortunately, we had watched plenty of behind the scenes on how the Orokai were done in Lord of the Rings. Go the He-Man route with our own projects. Let me see. What was that? I'm trying to bring the chat back up. It keeps falling out of the screen. I don't know why. Fantasy and sci-fi mix as well. Yes. You know, Masters of the Universe did prove that sci-fi and fantasy does mix very well because, you know, we got Drago pretending he's, you know, Conan the Barbarian from space with Tom Paris in the, you know, Masters of the Universe movie, so that worked pretty good. But the He-Man cartoon did it even better, I would say. So we're trying a lot of different ideas. one of the biggest projects, not biggest, but the one we're moving forward with the best. We have both of the costumes together already, and we're starting to figure out some of the sword play on. Is actually a very short film. This one is going to be short. Uh, it's we're going to release it sometime in October, not this year, but we're going to release it in October whenever we get it finished, because it's kind of a spookier film. It's a film about a vampire hunting priest, and it should be pretty wizard. So let me see. Yes, Captain Ducard is our Imperial Captain's name from the Picard thing I was talking about a while ago. I've shown little clips of it, but not a whole lot. So we may do a featurette on that pretty soon, just to let you all know what we're working on with that. So, um, but yeah, we have a Star Trek mixed with the Empire type of theme song for the show and everything. What we're doing is we're trying to write it and edit it as much like an episode of Next Generation as possible, but it just takes place on a Star Destroyer instead of the Enterprise. Thank you for dropping by, Commander Waz. I greatly appreciate it. Enjoy your dinner and have a wonderful evening. Live long and prosper, my friend. Let me see. Yes, a mirror episode with Yoda would be very interesting. Uh, Evil Yoda with a goatee, that would be pretty wizard. He'd be like a little gremlin. Rob from Everything Star Wars. I think I can sum up your fan film in one word: wizard. Yes, it was most wizard indeed, and I'm glad you thought so as well. We're actually going to be making some T-shirts really soon. That's another development. If That'll be another way you guys can support the channel if you like. We're going to get T-shirts made that say "Totally Wizard" on them. So if you want a Totally Wizard T-shirt, keep your eyes peeled, because we're working on the design right now, and those should be available relatively soon. So I would use the Force to keep the chat in place if I could, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem to work on technology. Perhaps I'm just too old, and I don't know how this newfangled interweb stuff works. Live long and prosper, Commander Waz. Let me see. I'm sorry I haven't been able to answer as many questions as I'd like. I'm having a hard time with this helmet. But as for the other parts of the fan film, one of the big things we tried to do was make the score feel as authentic as we could, because no one's John Williams but John Williams. And when you're using digital MIDI instruments, it can never sound as lush as a real orchestra. But our director, who did the score for the film, he tried to incorporate as many classic Star Wars themes into this film as possible, because I feel like that was something that was sadly lacking from the Obi-Wan series, was the classic Star Wars music. So the ending scene alone with Yoda and Master Vong Zar in Yoda's hut, that's like, you know, it's like Star Wars The Greatest Hits collection. We have a bit of the Mustafar duel, we have the Yoda theme, we have the Force theme, we have Leia's theme, we have Yoda's theme. There's all kinds of music sprinkled all throughout that sequence, and that's just one of the many places that we tried to put as many classic themes as possible into this film. Doing the darker music of the Empire and Palpatine in particular, that was very interesting. And we also had to come up with some new themes for our bounty hunters and the Arbiter, and try to weave those in and make them feel like they belonged in the Star Wars galaxy. So that was a challenge, certainly, but one our director relished because he began his creative career as a musician. So this was like coming home for him. So he enjoyed it quite a bit. So let me see. I'm reading a comment here. Bear with me, please. Our project sound very interesting. Will the Ducard guys show up? Show the good guys. Show as the good guys of the Empire. Um, the episode is written from the perspective of the Empire. So Ducard is the good guy of this particular story. So it was just an interesting writing exercise to take a character like Picard, who is so passionately devoted to the ideals of the Federation, and taking him and making him just as devoted to the ideals of the Empire. Yes, we tried to keep the jokes to a minimum in our fan film, because I'm not averse to humor, but films have been so humorous at the expense of any amount of drama lately that we tried to keep it as serious and dramatic as possible. Because also, you know, when it's a film about the last few Jedi being hunted down, and it's a tragic revenge tale, it's not really the time for a bunch of Fozzie waka waka kind of humor. So, um, in future projects, I would like to inject a bit more humor, perhaps, but this story didn't call for it. Certainly. Yes, yeah, the score for when Kaya dies at the very beginning of the film, we tried to make that as emotional as possible. We actually integrated the theme Anakin's Dark Deeds from Episode 3 for when he's walking down this, for when I'm walking down the steps towards the Padawan, and building up to the climax of our first clash, and then our director just went into more original territory with the tragic nature of the music. Um, some of his favorite music from the film takes place in the Jedi netherworld of the Force, with all the cherry blossoms blowing by, because that's where he got to indulge his inner James Horner, and sort of Land Before Time style music. So that was a nice bit of sentimental, emotional music. Yes, the score when the Jedi forgives Vader at the end as well. That's another very, very moving piece of music that we tried to make it sound very ritualistic and somber, like a funeral dirge or something very spiritual, um, to lend greater impact to the redemption arc that we were giving this character, and the fact that he chooses to forgive Vader for everything he's done as his last act of letting go of everything that's happened to him. So we're very glad that people appreciated that music in the film. Yes, Anakin's Dark Deeds really does, it does fit um, and help the grim nature of a scene play out, because there's an element of tragedy, but a finality to that piece of music that John Williams created that it really goes well with the slow build-up of a dramatic sequence. Yes, Darth Lion. You noticed in the trailer when I said the "You will try" Anakin Skywalker line to our Jedi Master. That was one of the other times that we tried to bring Anakin to the forefront of the character because, um, again, we were trying to blend Vader and Anakin together in this film to show his progression from still being his older self, still trying to hold on to what he used to be, until he finally lets go and resigns himself to being the Emperor's servant at the end of the film. And that mixed with some of the times he gets angry at the Jedi and is once again angry at being lectured to by a Jedi Master like he was um, in episode 2 and 3. A little bit of his Anakin side pops out every now and then. So I'm glad you caught that because we were hoping that people would notice the little Hayden Christensen isms that we sprinkled throughout the film. Because we were trying to make this a companion piece to where if you wanted to, you could watch 1, 2, and 3, watch our film, and then watch 4, 5, and 6. And not that it's on the same level as those films, but it might be fun to watch it that way sometime. Just to kind of see how it all fits together. Pardon me, I'm trying to read a comment real quick here. The movie truly hit me in. Hold on, one more time. Marcus A. The movie truly hit me with so many emotions. The score and the mood was captivating, Lord Vader. Thank you very much. That means a lot to me because we were hoping that people would come away with this feeling that they'd seen something greater than just a fight between two guys in the woods. Because there have been a lot of those fan films where it's just one guy walks towards another guy, they turn on their lightsabers and they fight. And while it takes effort to make films like that, we were trying to see if we could do something a little bit more and have a story that hopefully would connect with people and feel like a nice expanded universe companion piece to the classic films that we all love so much. The Gasper Short says, I love the Star Wars fan film you did. Hold on one. You did a pretty good job on it. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Hearing so many people's comments on this film, seeing how much you all have enjoyed it, has really meant the world to me. Because obviously, when you work on something yourself, you're very excited about it, and you have your favorite moments you're excited about that you think people are probably going to enjoy, but you're never really sure if it's just because it's your baby, so to speak, that you're so excited about it. Because everyone thinks they made a great movie, even when they didn't. So, um, seeing that you guys thought it was a good movie as well, it's very gratifying and very rewarding and a huge relief because if this had been terrible after 3 years, not only would that have been depressing, but it would have been incredibly embarrassing. Um, After 4 years of reviewing film to, release such a stinker when it's my turn at bat, so to speak. I was thinking about doing a Star Wars review on your fan film. That would be great. I would love to see a review on the fan film. Any of you actually that are watching, if you want to make reviews of the film, just tag me in it on Twitter, so I can see it once you finish it, because we'd love to hear your thoughts, good or bad, on the film. Because no film is perfect. So, um, but yes, we would love to hear what you had to say about it, because it's not often that we get to connect with people in such a immediate way. So yes, I would love to see a review on that. Love the Battle Man. Thank you, Obi-Wan Gray. Is that it? Sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing through these lenses. They're all fogged up. But I'm glad you loved the battle. We tried to capture some of the intensity of the Mustafar duel in Episode 3 and blend it with the Bespin duel in Episode 5. Um, so we we're very glad that you guys enjoyed what we did. It was a lot of hard work. It was months of practice, and then months of shooting, going out there filming for um, filming in the heat, filming with zero visibility from my helmet or my friends' contact lenses, swinging lightsabers at each other's heads as fast and as hard as we could, because we wanted to make it look like we were really trying to attack one another. We didn't want to do the, you know, swing at swords and have safety. We were safety last when we were filming this, but I think that kind of frenetic energy and the danger of it really shows on camera. Yes, honest reviews will help, indeed. Vader's aggressive attacks were excellent. Thank you very much. I tried to make sure that I put everything I had into each swing. When we were done with our filming days, I could hardly move. My brother, who was out there with us helping, he was the cinematographer. Quite often, he would have to carry some of my stuff because I was so worn out. Even just holding my lightsaber was difficult. My hands ached, my arms ached, my back ached, um, and I could barely move. We had a 15 to 20-minute walk from our parking space off into the woods where we filmed, and at the end of the day, that was the longest 20 minutes walking back to the car, because I could barely move. Let me see. Filming is hard work. I'm reading another comment here from Darth Lion. The timing and hard work put into Fallen Jedi is definitely a perfect way to prepare for the arrival, that's for sure. I'm still very happy to have seen and loved the fan film with everybody. It was great having you in the live chat when the movie premiered. If I would have known there was going to be a live chat during the premiere on YouTube, I would have made a bigger deal about it, because I would have liked to talk to all of you guys while the film was releasing, but I didn't know it would do something like that. So next time we have a film to release, I'll make a bigger deal out of it and let you guys know ahead of time exactly when it's gonna drop, so we can have more of you guys in the chat. And fortunately, with the film, I didn't have this on while it was playing, so I was able to answer everyone a lot better. Why do you think... Oh, hold on a minute. Morgan D. Tillman. Who do you think would make a good Luke Skywalker for a fan film? You know, that's really difficult to say. I know a lot of people really hate deepfakes, but I actually quite like the technology. And honestly, if I could find a guy that could do a good Mark Hamill impression and if I could do the deepfake technology myself, um, I'd love to make some Luke Skywalker stories, um, and just deepfake Mark Hamill onto him, because I think that would be pretty wizard to see. I think in a fan film, especially, people would appreciate and give it a little bit more leeway than the big professional productions. Next time, let us know if we can try to make it out. Sorry, I couldn't see that whole thing.
Would you like me to read them?
I'm trying to read a comment here. Bear with me, please. Oh, I love the days when me and my pals fought so hard we could barely move for the next 3 days. Yes, it's it's uh it's strange, but it does hurt really bad. But it is a very satisfying feeling at the end of the day when you have filmed something and you can hardly move because of it. Because then you get it on the computer and you start seeing it come together and it works. And it's very gratifying indeed. We were very inspired also by the physicality of the sword fights in Lord of the Rings, um, particularly the Fellowship of the Ring, when Aragorn is fighting the Uruk-hai and Amon Hen. We took a lot of inspiration there because even in the color grading of the film, we watched the behind the scenes of that film because we realized we're stuck in the woods. How can we try to make this look cinematic? And then we remembered the ending of the first Lord of the Rings film, where they were filming in the woods, but it still looked pretty wizard when they were done. And so we based our color grade on how Lord of the Rings was color graded, and it seemed to help tremendously to elevate the footage and make it more cinematic. Such a good feeling, especially when you fight in front of a crowd and they really like it. Yes, um, while we haven't done that in front of people in real time, I understand what you mean because seeing people's reactions to the duel in our film, it's a very satisfying feeling indeed. When people are so invested in the hard work you put into a fight scene. Um, it's it's hard work, but it's worth it, and that's the only problem with trying to make other films in the future is for other Star Wars projects. I don't know how we can top this one, but if we ever get around to those, we'll figure something out because there's always a way. You just have to put some thought into it. So, um, but yes, let me see here. I'm trying to see if there are any comments I missed. I know I missed a ton at the beginning. I feel like I'm seeing them better here towards the end. You were looking the most OT when you single-handed when you were single-handedly fencing. Yes, we were trying to keep some of that episode 5 single-handed Vader sword fighting in here. I'm glad you noticed that. You went on to say you could try to pick up some HEMA sparring lessons for future projects. Be really good, especially for the vampire priest film because uh, there's going to be a rapier duel in that film, and it's a bit different than fighting with lightsabers. So it's a whole new style of fighting that we're going to have to learn for that film. So taking some actual fencing classes would be a good idea for that. Um, let's see. It's about 1:20. We're about an hour and 24 minutes into this. I've rambled for a really long time. I felt like I haven't said much. Um, Unfortunately, I feel like I'm talking in circles. But once again, I'm no great public speaker, but I just want to say that making this film has been the most rewarding creative project I've ever been involved in my entire life. And seeing how much you have all enjoyed this film, seeing the reception it has garnered online, the number of views we've racked up in just a short time, and all of the lovely and wonderful comments we've received from all of you, it's truly touching, and it is humbling as well because I was hoping to entertain all of you with this film, but no one ever sets out to make a bad movie, but people do. And knowing that we achieved our goal and brought a smile to people's faces and brought a little bit of that Star Wars magic back to people's lives, um, particularly to the old fans who have felt so disenfranchised over the past few years, that's incredibly rewarding to me personally. And I thank each and every one of you for all of the support you've given this project over the years, sticking with us, waiting for the film, and standing by us as we worked so hard on this project. And all of your kind words and encouragement, they really mean the world to me. And they help us keep going. And we're hoping to make other projects in the future that can entertain you. So um, let me try to read through a few more of these comments real quick, and then I think we need to wrap this up because I've I've got some I've been fighting with some bronchitis, and it's it's kind of difficult to speak. So let me read off some more comments. Darth Lion says, reminds me of when the old buddies and I would have our lightsaber battles together. Yes, there's a strange bonding process that happens when guys uh, spar with one another. There really is a friendship that can develop. That's a very unique kind of friendship. Um, I would imagine it's much like playing team sports, even though I didn't really do that much growing up. But it's a very special thing. And thank you to Reverend Burnfried. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. I can't see the text quite well to know if I'm saying it right.
Looks like
But
burn free.
and I loved it, but you don't need action scenes everywhere, especially not in your Captain Dakar film. Star Trek was never intended. Yes, we don't have a whole ton of action in that. The Star Trek thing with Dakar, it's basically all dialogue. There's a couple things that happen, but it's Star Trek style action, not Star Wars kind. But yes, thank you again, Di Obi-Wan Gray, for saying, yeah, it's a really cool fan film, man. And thank you for watching it because you're a really cool Obi-Wan, man. Congratulations once again on your amazing creation and your fan film reaching views of over 3,000. It's quite an achievement indeed. I never thought the views would get that high, at least not for a couple of years. Thank you to Scar the Hun for saying it was great. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's almost 2:30 here too, and I gotta get. Oh yes, you need to get some rest, and I do too for my health's sake. And thank you for joining us tonight on this sort of haphazard live stream. Um, oh, Storm Darkclaw, greetings, my friend. I'll have to stick around for a little longer here. Um, this man, he has helped us tremendously over the years with the channel, and thank you very much, Battalion Commander, for all of the support you've given us. Um, Thank you for dropping by to say hello. I hope you enjoyed the film. It was certainly a long time in the making, but we we love all of the support that we've gotten from all of you. It's really kept us going through hard times because no matter how much you love a creative project you're working on, there are always moments where you hit roadblocks, where it feels like you're just beating your head against the wall, and it's very difficult to continue. But all of your support and your well wishes and your excitement and enthusiasm for the project, it really helped keep us going. Um, and I can't thank you all enough for the part you played in making this film happen. So thank you very much. Thank you for um, all of your emotional and moral support, as well as the financial support to help keep this channel alive. And we're so glad that the film is out now, and you can just see it anytime you like. To anyone who loved the film enough, if you would like to add it to your own collection, feel free to download it so you can burn it to a disc or whatever you want to do. Um, in the coming weeks, we're going to make um, a print-off label image available for like a DVD sleeve. If you like the film enough to add it to your collection, you have our permission to do so. We won't mind if you download it off of YouTube, because we just want people to enjoy this film for years to come. And so even if YouTube goes under for some reason, if you want to have your own copy for posterity, go ahead and download it, and we won't mind a bit. All we ask is that you give us a view first and tell a friend or two about the film, and that'll be more than enough. So, let me see. All right, so we've got still got a few people watching. I'm trying to think of any interesting stories that happened while we were filming. Um, Bear with me for just 1 second. I'm trying not to sneeze. Ah, that's always terrible when you're in the middle of trying to say something in a helmet and you're about to sneeze. Feel a bit like Fred Randall from Rocket Man. You don't want to blow stuff all over your face mask. but uh, but yes, interestingly, our Jedi Knight in the film, um, every stormtrooper he encountered, fittingly enough, was a clone, because he played all of the stormtroopers as well. He did a phenomenal job, not only with the lightsaber work, but also in capturing the body language and weapons handling of classic original trilogy stormtroopers, I thought. We tried to keep it as old school as possible rather than making them like modern tactical guys, because that's cool, but we wanted it to try to feel as classic Star Wars as possible. So I thought he did a phenomenal job with that, and I thank him for all of his help. We wouldn't have been able to make this film without him, not just because um, he was the guy I fought with, but he was instrumental in this film in more ways than one. He provided the camera that we used for the film, and he spent late nights helping us film all of the various things from spaceships to the Master Yoda puppet that we used in the film. To he was operating the camera whenever our director was on screen as Palpatine. Um, there was so much that he did for this film, and I want to thank Micah McGill personally for everything he added to this project and all the time and effort he put into it. I also want to thank Jessica Smith for everything she did in this film and for being such a good sport, um, filming from a state away in front of green screen to bring her character to life. She was really the heart of this film. Yes, Battalion Commander, you said you have a question for me. Let me read it real quick. How is fighting in the suit? Fighting in the suit is it's strange because on one hand it's extremely fun and you feel invincible when you're in the suit. You feel very powerful when you're inside the suit. But at the same time, it can be miserable because it's so hot and so restrictive and it's even though you have the vents here, the airflow is very restrictive and you can overheat but also get CO2 poisoning very easily. I nearly passed out several times while we were filming because I couldn't catch a clean breath while we were fighting because of the mask and how restrictive it was. One time towards the end of the film, uh, when we were doing the little samurai run sequence, I nearly fell over. We did one take, and it wasn't quite what we were wanting. And on the second take, when I ran through, I felt like I was gonna fall over. I was seeing a tunnel. I got nauseated, sick to my stomach, severely overheated, and I had to pull the helmet off as fast as I could because I began dry heaving, and we still had the rest of the day to finish shooting. So we had to take about a 15-minute break for me to drink some Gatorade and try to get back on my feet and put the dome back on. And we went through the running sequence one more time and through uh, some very, very arduous fight choreography. And when it's working well, when you find a rhythm, it's very enjoyable because you can kind of forget about your discomfort while you're in the moment of the fighting. But the second you're done with the shot you're working on, the suit is excruciating and it's phenomenally hot. And you can't breathe, you can't see, you can barely hear, and you're closed off from the world, just kind of burning alive. So it's a mixture of torture and the best time of your life because you know no matter how terrible you're feeling, you look pretty wizard because the Darth Vader suit is one of the best costumes of all time. So it was very difficult but very fun at the same time. Yes, this is the way indeed. Read a couple more comments real quick. Lord Vader, it's been a pleasure, and yes, it's been wizard. Yes, it was. It was very wizard indeed, my friend. You know, Darth Lion, it would have been great to have members of the 501st in this film. We unfortunately just couldn't get a hold of any of them in time. So perhaps for future projects, if we can get enough word of mouth about this film, maybe the 501st would help us with a future film. That would be great. Greetings inside the booth. Stopping by to say hi. Yes. Well, I wish you well on your show. I'm sure it'll go much smoother than mine has gone because I can barely read the comments I'm supposed to be answering. So, I wish you well on your show. And I'm looking forward to coming on yours soon to speak to you. So, uh, have a good evening and may the force be with you, my friend. One moment, please. I'm trying to bring up some comments. They keep dropping off. But yes, this film was definitely a labor of love for all concerned, and it it paid off handsomely in the end, I think, because it was just it's been a dream come true seeing everyone's response and reaction to this film. And if you want to make reaction videos or reviews of the film, even if you skip around to just your favorite parts, we'd love to see um, what you guys think of this movie in depth because, when you work for 3 years on something like this, you really want to know what people thought of it. And it's not an ego thing, it's really fun to see people enjoy something that you've worked so hard on, and to get people's insights and to see what they noticed about the film and what they appreciated about it specifically. So thank you again to everyone who's joined me tonight. I've rambled on here for much longer than I intended to. Um, it's actually getting kind of tricky to breathe in this thing right now as it is. So I think I might need to call it a night here. Um, Let me read through some of the comments one more time to see if there's anything I need to respond to real quick. Oh, yes. If you guys want to use my Death Star rating for your reviews, go right ahead. That would be pretty nostalgic for me since that's how I started this thing 4 years ago. So, um, but yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts on the film. Know which parts you like the best, all that sort of thing. I need to sign off here and get some dinner and get some rest because I got a busy week ahead of myself. So, thank you for joining me on this um, sort of haphazard live stream. I'll get the hang of this eventually because I want to do more of these and I want to do a better job at them. Um, I'll figure this thing out with the helmet. But thank you. Uh, Someone just said, "You will always be my favorite genocidal villain." Thank you very much. That's some high praise indeed. Thank you, Battalion Commander. You have a wonderful night as well. Thank you for your kind words. I'm glad you enjoyed the film, and I'm glad you were able to drop by. Um, and we can't wait to share our future projects with you as well, because we have a lot of cool stuff in the pipeline. Um, thank you, General Pfeiffer. Um, I know life is very busy indeed, but I hope you enjoy the film once you get to see it, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you think of it in the comments. You have a good night, Darth Lion, and thank you again for all of your excitement about the film. Die Obi-Wan Gray, may the Force be with you as well, my friend. Scar the Hun, keep it dark, my lord. Thank you. You keep it dark as well, and may the Force be with you. Reading a few more here. Goodbye, old friend. May the Force be with you from Commander Gree. May the Force be with you as well. Marcus, you have a wonderful night, and thank you for all of your support you've given us. And thank you for all of your enthusiasm you've shown for the film. It's been great talking with you, my friend. All right. We've had John Cena in the chat here, and I didn't even know it. My goggles must have fogged up when you got in here, or I would have done your little theme song or something. But thank you all for everyone who's tuned in. Um, I'll be more. I'll do better at these live streams eventually. I'm a newbie at this. Usually I have a whole week to prepare a video. I'm more of a video essay guy than a live streamer. But the old Sith Lord will, have to practice some of these new tricks that the younglings are doing on the interwebs. So I'll get the hang of this eventually. And until next time, thank you for all who have tuned in. Um, and I will speak with you all soon. Next weekend, we'll have a more normal weekly video. And be sure to tune in to the Scarif podcast because our director will be interviewed on that podcast and he can go into greater detail about the film there. And we will see you next weekend right here on Vader Reviews. So thank you all for coming and thank you for watching the film. Be sure to share it with as many Star Wars YouTubers as you can think of to help us spread the word about the film. Because the more people that are talking about this, the greater the reach will be, and the more Star Wars fans will be able to enjoy this film. So thank you all for everything you've done to help us, and good night, and may the Force be with you all.